Hi, everybody, and welcome to The Real Shift. We are your co-hosts. I am Anna.
I'm Katy.
And this is a show about rewriting the rules, or in some cases, unlearning some of those things we picked up along the way.
Both of them equally important. The show is also about bold shifts that have fueled the growth of entrepreneurs, creators, athletes, titans of their industry. And today's guest is quite a titan in her industry in the space of leadership. Her name is AmyK Hutchens. She is an international award-winning speaker. She has written 2 books. Both of them have been on the Amazon's bestseller list. One of them right here called Get It. She has given 2,700 presentations and counting. She is the founder of Ignite Brilliance, which is a beautiful global leadership platform. For the past 25 years, she's been training, coaching, consulting in the leadership space. Big time companies, Whole Foods, Expedia, Starbucks Canada. It's a lot of shifts.
A lot of shifts.
AmyK, we're so happy to have you with us today.
Thanks for joy to be here.
So you've been on the stage globally, you've spoken, you've been on all kinds of podcasts, MSNBC, all these shows, and then someone says, will you be a guest on our podcast called The Real Shift? What do you think about that?
I go, shift happens, let's do it. Here we go, our new tagline. Thank you. Live and in action here.
Leadership, the space that you're in right now. I know that you talk a lot about leading with your heart versus ego. What is happening today when it comes to leadership?
It's indoctrinated with ego, and it's getting harder and harder to quiet the ego because we're filled with competition, comparison, little competition going on. And so it doesn't take a rocket scientist to say that the more social media is happening, the more you get on, the more you have anxiety and stress, and the more that you actually pull your ego forward and realize that your ego is now in charge and you don't even realize it. And I think that, Katy, one of the things that we often misunderstand that needs one of the biggest shifts right now is that our understanding of the ego is always that, oh, it's false bravado and insecurity and arrogance. It's more pernicious than that. Your ego, when it operates, just wants to keep you small. It wants to keep you safe, and it operates out of fear. And so sometimes just asking yourself, is this a fear-driven choice? Is this a fear-driven decision? Can be the first shift that you make out of your ego.
Wow, I love that.
Well, and you think about the ego trying to protect you, but you're talking about that it's trying to keep you small when the opposite is how you're coming across.
Yeah.
Why does it do that?
Oh, it's... do we have time for 6 hours if they're...
Settle in.
It's 30-second soundbite.
Okay, so let's actually have a moment. I'm going to be a philosophical nerd for a second. A little bit of spirituality here, too. Your ego is a false self. It is your conditioned self, meaning it's created in the world, but it's not of the world. Your spirit, your divinity, your soul juice, your life force, all of that you brought to this experience. It's going to energetically move forward. The ego's man-made. It's conditioned. And it's kind of icky, but it's also a reflection of what's going on in the world. You know?
So you're busy these days. I mean, is that the biggest challenge right now, would you say, or is that what you're leading with?
It is the biggest challenge right now. It's sort of that, which came first, nature or nurture. It is both. We all have an ego. You're not going to get rid of it. Learning how to integrate it, overcome it, understand it so that you can actually get back to being heart-led, your true self, is a lifelong journey for all of us. It's just that the world is getting so much smaller that it's becoming a bigger deal. Yeah.
Example. Give us an example, because I know you're dealing with executives and C-suite.
AI. Let's just start right there. The global pace of change is so rapid. We have more anxiety. We have children, and I call them children. We have young adults, 21, 22, 23, who are so filled with anxiety and stress and fear of missing out and not getting the job, they've forgotten who they are. We're helping them forget who we are. So it's kind of ironic that while, yes, I use AI to grow my business, ironically, what I'm doing with leaders is kind of going back to the fire. It's like, let's go back to our humanity. Let's go back to being in touch with nature. Let's have a little Gaia moment. Let's have a little philosophical, spiritual, get in touch with your divinity and creationism just to get grounded in stillness for a second.
You are supporting C-suite in a very important time, and you need support yourself.
Yeah.
So how are you coming from the inside out, finding shifts in your world to make sure that you are keeping yourself safe while you're supporting them?
It's seasonal. I will say that. Every time or chapter that I go through my life, I have a different practice, and I use that word purposefully. It's always a practice. It's a journey. What's going to fuel you in the moment shifts throughout your life. Right now, I am very much committed to the dedication and the devotion of a morning and an evening practice. So, and I travel all over, and I pack little things in my suitcase that allows me to continue to journal and to meditate and get fueled by external sources, to light the candle, find the flower, do something that makes me feel connected so that I can pause. That sacred pause is so important. We've all heard that power in the pause. Pause before you speak, take a deep breath. Those are all really powerful tools for a reason.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to get to that a little
I
later.
can't wait. We're going to do a little show and tell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Stillness is key. I think there was a book around that as well. Just
Yeah, right.
being
For sure.
still. Yeah. Okay. So you have some routines and practices that you're going to talk about later. But what about your leaders? So you do these amazing retreats. Tell us about some of the shifts that you're inspiring, igniting in the leaders that you get to work with.
Well, I started off as a school teacher. So I am a big believer in experiential exercise.
Love that.
So it's you can PowerPoint somebody to death. And so what I love to do partly is to give you the experience so that you can actually have a multi-sensory approach to learning. And also neurologically, my background in cognitive science says, let's do an exercise. Let's have a moment where we can tap into all of your senses so that it's sticky, so that you actually can remember it, and you can neurologically rewire the brain more effectively if you have more sensory input. So that's really important. Very different. I mean, I love books. I'll read books all day long. I'm just naturally curious. But there's a big difference between just reading the book and then experiencing something even more magical.
Yeah, and isn't it so cool that you can read a book, the same book, and any given year you get a different message? I find that, and then you get to experience, you're like, wait a second, it comes to life. It's just so magical, like you said. Yeah. Okay, so tell us more about the retreats, though. That is one of the big things that you've worked on, continue to do, and speaking of magic, they all sound very magical.
I love what I do. And I think that the passion comes from I've created something that I couldn't find. So I could go online and I could find the yoga retreat. Hello, thank you very much. Definitely want to do that, right? I can find the back to nature retreat. I can find the hiking, whether it's, the El Camino trail or it's the Sedona Canyons, all fabulous. But where was this magical moment of leadership, insight, philosophy, spirituality, grounding in my stillness, movement modality, changing my thinking, changing my actions, changing my behavior, and then coming out and having it all so sticky that you're like, oh, I can shift and I know how to do it. And it's real. It's not just lip service. I've embodied a whole new way of being. So what I joke about, Anna, is that when you leave my retreat, you can't go back. Like there's no going back. I've totally messed up your mind. You literally have shifted and I've rewired your brain. There's no going back. So it's this beautiful blend of cognitive science and aesthetic experiences and movement and shifting the way that you think. And then I'm going to go really nerdy on you. Bilateral brain stimulation exercises, which is just a fancy way of saying I'm going to rewire your brain so that when you leave, it's permanent. So that your self-esteem stays with you, so that your confidence stays with you, so that this newfound voice gets to go out and express herself or himself in this beautiful new way in the world.
And that's amazing because, to your point, that's where a lot of other experiences go wrong. And that's all of us. We read a book, we're like, I got it. I'm so inspired. Life is changing tomorrow. And then tomorrow you go back to work,
Right.
You go back to parenting, you go back to and like, it just all slowly or quickly fades away, right? So I love that you're doing that to make it sticky, to get some traction and really change lives with these little shifts or big as well.
And you're doing that for corporations, and then you'll do that for individuals, correct? You do both.
So just last week, I did one for a woman, VIP, just herself for a couple days.
How wonderful.
And so fun. It was actually fun without the. And then I had all the executive women from a corporation that went on theirs a couple weeks before that. And then a couple weeks prior to that, it was 14 people, men and women. They're all the chiefs. They were all the chiefs that were in the room. And so it's a wide variety, which keeps me stimulated too.
How challenging, if at all, is it to merge? So you're doing neurological, you're doing academic, you're doing woo-woo, as they say, spiritual, and now you're merging men and women in the same group. How big of a challenge is that, if at all?
It's a variety of a unique blend of exercises to meet them where they're at. So every group is different.
You're busy.
I'll bring my tools. I've got 80% of I know exactly what I'm going to do. And then 20% is the magic in the moment of where you're at. Where do you want to go with this? So we had, in one retreat, we had an accident that occurred. So some of the employees were in a severe car accident. Thank goodness everybody's okay today. But in the moment, you're in a retreat and you're going, okay, we're not going to just brush over this. This is life. And so you stop and you talk about it. You talk about how they want to communicate it back, how they can be supportive. You meet the moment so that you're actually helping them to be the brilliant leaders that everybody needs. And so I think that's the difference between something being super performative and being authentically real. That's another shift. That in today's world, we are not interested in performances anymore. We want the authenticity. We want the reality of, can I show up and be my best self, even in the worst moments or the most tragic or the most vulnerable?
Yeah, you are really speaking our language here.
I know. And it's interesting, and we've talked about this, it's like in sports, a coach can really lift you up or ruin your experience. And when you think about leadership, and so many leaders that are out there, and they can make or break an employee or a team's spirit, or they can lift them up and send them on a trajectory that they didn't even see coming.
Yes.
And so what kind of feedback have you gotten? I know a lot of it. I know. We've got 3 hours.
But
Go ahead and tell us.
stories. Feedback comes through stories.
Yeah.
Here's a great story, and it's a real recent one. There was a woman on a retreat. She called me, and she's in a terrible mood. She was like, I don't even know if I want to go on your retreat. And I was like, oh, with that attitude, you're not going. Exactly. And then I was like, so what's going on? And she's very candid. We've had some history together in terms of I knew some of her earlier years when I'd worked with her company a long time ago. And she said, I'm drinking too much. I'm eating too much. I'm stressed.
It wasn't me. So starting to sound like it, but carry on.
Because we can relate to this,
Yes,
right? We can
yes.
relate to what's going on. And I was like, well, tell me what is current. What's the big challenge? And she said, well, I have an $18 million sales goal that I need to meet next year. And I said, okay. And she says, and I'm not going to meet it. And I said, well, can you say something positive? She's like, yeah, I'm positively not going to meet it. and I was like, okay.
And a sense of humor.
And she had a sense of humor. Now that was my foot in the door. I was like, if you can joke about it, I can see that this is still going to work, right? This isn't a therapy moment. This isn't massive depression. This is, you need a shot of mojo. I'm going to be your dealer. Let's come get a hit from me. I'm going to get you too. And so she shows up. We do the retreat. Now, this retreat happened in February, so she had until December to meet her goal.
Did she meet her goal?
In May, I get a text from her that says, I have met my goal.
Wow.
What's next? Let's see if we can triple it. I'm not drinking. I have lost weight. My relationship with my husband is we are having better, things are going well. It's a whole thing.
Incredible.
Because she completely shifted her mindset, and that's where it starts.
And I think that's what's so cool about the concept in general, because it can be just a mindset shift, and it could be major, it could be minor, right? Sometimes it's a shift in perspective, but she was committed to making this change, and you saw that, and you helped her just shift her a little bit in the right space. So that was beautiful. Kudos to you and to her.
Well, to her.
It's really, but you were part of that.
Because she had to stay committed, and she had to love herself enough to stay committed that this is the life that she wants to create. And so we get a lot of buzz phrases, the platitudes, or social media is filled with the feel-good words, and you just keep swiping, and you're like, oh yeah, I know that one. Oh yeah, I know that one. Okay, oh yeah, comparison's the thief of joy. Let me keep comparing, until you stop. And sometimes you have to hear it for the first time. And when you really hear it, and then your mind-body alignment, You neurologically change the brain. You embody at a cellular level this new belief system. And all of a sudden, if I say something like, hey, your state of being is your number one doing. Your state of being is your number one doing. It's not the trite, put your oxygen mask on first, that we all just in one ear and out the other. It's like your energetic frequency comes first. And if you're not in the right energetic frequency, you will magnetize nothing that you want. Relationships, work, home, family dynamics, dynamics with your kids, career trajectory, the books that you're reading, the people that you're meeting, none of it will be actually what you want until you fully embody that your state of being is your number one doing.
Is it body first or mind first or vice versa?
What do you want to believe?
And where does the spirit go?
It's all. It's all. But it's first believing that you have a spiritual entity. A lot of people don't. Then it's saying, oh, my body's just this vehicle for my spirit. Really important. You know, I really want to have longevity. You know, to me, it's kind of like, instead of anti-aging, let's be pro-longevity, right? So it's just changing that. Again, that's just a small shift with big magic outcomes.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Finally.
Yes.
Okay, so this book I wanted to talk about. I loved this book. And one of the things, and I've talked about this a lot with Anna, but we got to talk about her magical phrases. So Anna, her magical
Okay, so before we get to the magical phrases, can we just talk about the subheading of the book? So get it. Okay. And then 5 steps to the sex, salary, and success you want. So we'll be taking these with us. And tell us more.
Yeah, this had to be a shift for you, because one of the things that you're known for is your magical phrases, AmyK's magical phrases, which I've read about and practiced, and they have made shifts in my internal conversations and my external conversations. Tell us more about how you came up with that and why you decided to put it all down on paper in this one.
Because I was a terrible communicator. So I don't believe it.
Says who?
Oh, no, I really was. So this is a really great shift in my own trajectory as just a woman, executive, teammate, half of a relationship. I was so great. I mean, I cannot tell you how fabulous I was at putting my foot in my mouth or saying the wrong thing or coming across with the harsh tone when I didn't even feel that harsh on the inside. And so the more I sort of stumbled and found my way, the more I realized there are some magical phrases that helped me show up, be more articulate, to have a softer heart and a firmer spine, to hold my own, set of boundaries, speak my truth, and not turn like bright red in the whole process. But it was a learning curve, and it took a really long time. When I started to share it with people who are a lot younger than me, it was like instant. It was like, oh, I wish I had known all of this in my 20s, my 30s. And so I started to put it together. Queen of magical phrases. I'm still learning them. Mm-hmm. It's fun sometimes to be like, oh, 6 hours later, this is what I could have said. But this is our humanity, right?
Absolutely.
So I put several in this book. There are going to be even more in the book that I'm working on right now. Mm-hmm. And so I just believe that it's not about completely scripting something. It's about just having the first words or the right words in the right moment that can just entirely shift the tone and tenor of a conversation. So it's you're mad at somebody. You're upset. Somebody has said something egregious to you and your ego wants to meet their ego.
I don't
so they're like, yeah, you? Yeah, you me? There's that kind of an energy. So the minute that somebody says something really egregious, taking the deep breath and saying, oh, you must be in a lot of pain to have said that. Did you mean to sound so mean? And all of a sudden, you've completely shifted the way that conversation's going to go.
Can you imagine if someone said that to you?
We're going to practice later.
I did.
I will be mean.
Okay.
And
but you didn't mean to be mean.
I probably meant to be mean. Just kidding. Carry on.
It's all good. But this is the book. Learning to communicate to connect. And this was a shift in my career. Katie's absolutely right. So I started off all in sales. My whole company was around sales training. I'm going to get you across the finish line. Yeah. Go, go, go. Exceed, meet our goals. Blah, blah, blah. No, I calmed down. I shifted to communication and leadership, and my whole company went to the moon and beyond. It was this incredible growth because I focused on communication, which ironically was my greatest pain point.
So what you're saying is communication is critical.
Oh, foundational to leadership.
Yeah.
Leading yourself, the toughest conversations you have are 3:00 in the morning. interacting, leading, getting people excited and inspired and motivated to fulfill the vision that you want to fulfill happens one conversation at a time.
Yeah. So the self-leadership is big for you. This is what you're coaching your leaders on, self-leadership. When you think about the magical phrases, give us 2 more that your clients love, like maybe the most popular ones.
A part of me is super popular.
We know that one.
So
I feel seen and heard.
oh, this is so good. If you have to communicate a sensitive emotion, we tend to, in our 90-mile-an-hour world, say, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I'm disappointed. The minute that you can, again, take that pause and say, oh, a part of me is frustrated. A part of me is concerned. A part of me is disappointed. All of a sudden, you have psychologically communicated to somebody that there are other parts of you that are less sensitively triggered, right? That there are other parts that are still respecting and excited to do something.
Yeah. That is a really important point. And I think that's one thing our listeners and viewers can shift really quickly. I'm so mad that you said this to me, and you just reframed it so beautifully, right?
A part of me. And then it's diffused.
It is.
It's you're kind of guiding the person you're talking to just to focus on this one thing, not that everyone has to be mad at everybody or the whole situation is terrible.
And it makes them less defensive. Like you can immediately see their shoulders drop.
Right.
So it's no different if your kid comes in and let's say they've broken their curfew. If you're like, I'm angry with you, it's like, oh, okay, that's a whole different way to interact with your child than if you say, hey, a part of me is really disappointed in your choice. Part of me is angry. Part of me is really, really, well, that wouldn't even be a part of me. It'd be like, I'm thrilled you're home safe, right? That's 100%.
My whole
Yeah,
self is
all,
so bad
whole
for you.
self is happy that you're there. So it's just learning how to navigate some of those tough conversations and share how you're feeling, but not be solely defined by it.
Love it.
And we talk about another one that's really popular right now. Leaders want to solve. We're naturally wired to be fixers. And so, exactly, it's so true though, right?
Did you just write fixer?
It's just how we're wired. We got ideas and we know how to get stuff done and just do this and you'll fix it really fast. Except that as the teacher in me, I am more likely to set you up for success if I ignite your own critical thinking and your own problem solving. So as a leader, I'm going to say, what do you need most from me right now? Do you need a resource? Do you need me to help with something? Do you just need me to listen? And you might even come back and be like, well, I really need you to do that. I'm like, okay, I may not be able to do all of that, but here's what I can do. And so I'm just supporting you without undermining your power or your own agency to solve your own problem.
It's worked for you, meaning, and it's been a journey because we hear you say that you've gotten more and more authentic, but you start off in education, which is what you love. You love learning and you love bringing out the best in people. And then you shift to sales and you learn a lot because now you're understanding your clients and you've learned how to grow a business. And now you've hit your stride because this is what you really love. And so the shifts have been plenty.
And they're all sort of the next tier of my own evolution. So I'm constantly getting excited about what I'm learning. And I don't really wait that long before I'm like, hey, client,
Right.
Hey, team, let's do this now because I just learned this.
Right.
Because that enthusiasm, that passion, that's real. That is how I'm wired.
Right.
So some people are like, hey, I'm going to spend 20 years learning this and then I'm going to bring it to you. I'm like, I just read something last Tuesday. I want to talk about it.
What's the biggest challenge? And again, I know we could talk about this all day, so we'll wrap it up soon for you. But what's the biggest challenge today that we don't understand that leaders have? What do we need to be more compassionate about when we're looking at our leaders?
How hard it is to have an answer that's going to be well received by every single constituent. Yeah. It's just impossible. And so I think that the watering down of leadership is the pressure right now in the world is greater to please everybody.
Yeah.
And we now speak around our truth and our authenticity so as to, I got to make sure you hear just what you need to hear and you hear just what you need to hear. That actually prevents stronger leaders from showing up and making decisions that ironically are for the greater good for all.
Makes sense in that because you hear people say, I don't like it, but I respect it.
Yes.
And that's what you want, right? Because you're not going to be liked by everybody. But if people respect you and they know that you're doing it with the right purpose, then they can get on board.
And I think one of the most important ways for me now to share defining success is that as a leader, you feel comfortable enough with who you are, where you're going, your own purpose for serving the world, that you show up authentically in every situation.
And then it goes back to, what do you need to do for yourself?
Yes.
What types of rituals, right? And all, how do you communicate all the things? So that's beautifully, you wrap that up really beautifully, how that goes back to being an exceptional leader. Love it.
What's on the cooker? What's coming up next for you?
I heard about a book.
What shift is coming up? We did hear book.
There's several. So I am in the middle of writing a book. I'm getting close to being done. I've got the prototype deck, which we're working on. That's going to come out. And hopefully.
Will you have magical phrases in those cards?
No, these are all statements for you to keep your brilliance.
Okay,
lit.
I would pay for also another deck
Of
with
magical
your magic
phrases.
You're going to do another project?
Yes,
you already
I
have
am.
two.
That's all good.
Tell your people.
We can, because we just opened a store. So for the first time, we are online as a storefront.
Congrats.
So all of the tools are now at a really approachable price point. They are completely redone, more comprehensive, so that if you're like, I really need on conflict, I really need to go to learn to hold my own or use my voice, I really need to forgive myself, which is where self-leadership starts. That's a whole nother podcast. We have a tool just for that.
And what is the way? We're going to flash it on the video, but for those listening, how can they find the store?
IgniteBrilliance.com.
IgniteBrilliance.com. Lovely.
And this is your global leadership platform.
It is. And now just approachable tools.
Great. I'm in.
Right?
Yeah.
Would you buy the magical phrases too?
100%.
Really quickly, I know you just really quickly about the book. We know about the tools, but the book's going to also be one of the tools that they can buy.
So sometimes we learn things a little late. It was very obvious a long time ago. So we did Ignite Brilliance 25 years ago. And I am now just getting around to writing the book that is actually called Ignite Brilliance. And some people, we have written other books. What would you possibly call this? I don't know. Maybe The Secrets Leaders Keep, or like we did all these crazy things. And then finally somebody said, well, you really just go around igniting people's own life force energy. I was like, I do. And they're like, well, why don't you just write a book on that? And I was like, duh.
The journey is not like this. It is like this.
We shall not cease from exploration. And at the end of all of our exploring, to return to where we started and know the place for the first time. I can bastardize T.S. Eliot, but it's so true. It is so true. So I am literally writing the book that I said 25 years ago I wanted to set out in the world and do, and it was Ignite Brilliance.
And that's what you've done for us today.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for being on.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Yeah. And come back anytime.
Thank you.
We'll be your foot soldiers. And thank you for all of this and inspiring us today. Yeah. From our hearts to yours, as you like to say.
Hugs.
Hugs.
Oh, indeed.
I like deciding to ask yourself how you want to show up every day, and the exercise of actually lighting up the incense to slow it down and say, how do I want to show up today? And pausing.
And I love the conversation around being, right? Because as leaders, as parents, as friends, as daughters, we have a lot of people that we surround ourselves with. But if we're not showing up and being for ourselves, it's such a beautiful reminder that you don't have to make giant shifts.
Right.
You can make small shifts. Go in your garden and pick out a rose and put it in a bowl. Could be a shift. It'll change how you see the rest of the day.
Yeah. And put it on your altar.
Put on your altar.
Right. Okay, we're making altars tonight?
Yes.
Someone we'll do that tonight. Beautiful.
Well, yes.
Yeah. You want to round us out?
No, you round it up first.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. For those viewing and online, please go ahead and like, subscribe, engage. We also want to hear about your shifts. So think about, what is one shift I can commit to create this week? And it could be super tiny baby shift, or it could be a big leap. So
tell us also what you loved about AmyK Hutchens. I know the list is going to be long, but one of your most favorite nuggets that you got out of the interview with her.
And for joining us.
We're your host. Happy to be here. I'm Katy.
Anna.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.